Last night was the start of the NBA season where we saw some new faces come to the forefront, some returners poised for redemption, and the Warriors getting yet another ring. And how most seasons start off with some mistakes and teams trying to get their footing, we're going to start off by breaking down the Sixers' first play. Now, the Sixers did not have a lot of movement to their offense last night. Right out of the gate, Doc Rivers runs a play that's going to isolate Joel Embiid. And while this may seem like a great move, you'll actually see from the statistics later on that these isolation plays just don't work. Contrary to this, the Celtics come down and they get Tatum moving off the ball, coming off a chin cut, and then they flow into a pick and roll, but they still have Tatum lifting for a three. Now, this finishes in an isolation play, but it's not what was intended. And that's going to be a key thing to remember when we talk about isolation. The Lakers kicked off the same way they usually do with LeBron hiking the ball, but then they actually got into some good team action. Now, Anthony Davis gets isolated here again, and he picks up a foul, which is good for the Lakers, which eventually led to them getting a bucket off a baseline out of bounds play. And the Warriors came down doing Warriors things where they get a lot of off-ball movement, which leads to Draymond driving to the basket and finding a wide open man in the middle. Now, I said we were going to talk about isolation, and let's get to it. This has a direct connection to last night's opening night. We are currently looking at all of the champions from last year at all levels: high school, college, professional. And this is for both men's and women's. Now, the one thing that we noticed was that the teams that were isolated the most actually performed the worst. Now, the teams who were most successful last year actually used isolation the least in their offense, with the exception of Monaco, who finished second in their league, the Celtics, who lost to the Warriors, who actually isolated the least, and the only team who isolated and was successful was the Las Vegas Aces, but they also had two of the top 10 most isolated players in their league. So the question is, what is the connection to opening night? Well, last night, the Sixers and the Lakers both isolated their teams the most, combining for a total of 33 isolation plays. The Celtics were at 11 and the Warriors only 3. Now, I'm not saying all ISO plays are bad or that there's no place for them in the game. That's just not true. But there are some things that you can do that can help you be successful and not come up short like this. So we're going to run this clip back and show you where the Sixers messed this up. So once they get this ball in here and they isolate Joel, the only off-ball movement they have actually brings a help defender to the isolated player. So now he's playing 1-on-2. Now, contrary to that, let's look at what the Lakers and the Warriors do. For the Lakers, once they get AD isolated, they still have movement on the weak side. This keeps the help defenders away. And perhaps the best at this are the Warriors. When they isolate their man over in the corner, watch all of the off-ball movement. We have cuts and screens going on, so the help defense cannot get to the isolated man. Again, look at the difference here with the Lakers. They isolate AD, and as soon as they do, you have two people digging down, and the defense is helping over because there's no off-ball movement. They just have 4 people on the fence. And yeah, AD makes this, but it's an incredibly difficult shot. And again, look at the Sixers when they come down. They run this swipe action where they have a man in the middle screening. They isolate Joel, but then again, the help defense comes, and it's a very difficult shot to make. Now let's talk about some great takeaways from each team. This play specifically, you can see that Joel's getting triple teamed in an ISO, so we get a baseline sneak cut, and then this is great basketball IQ, recognizes that the help defender steps up, he's able to one more of that pass for an open 3. Just the Sixers players bailing out Doc Rivers from a poor play calling night, and here we see James Harden drawing 2 defenders so he can throw a great bounce pass to a cutting Montrezl Harrell. A great call by Doc Rivers bringing him in. I love this play by the Celtics where they had Tatum curl off of a stagger and they popped the second screener for an open 3, and the next time Tatum sees that Harden's chasing over the top, so he just cuts back door for an open layup. The Lakers had a great set that we're calling through get, where they have this through action and then they throw it into the post and get it back for an open 3. And then the Warriors still putting on clinics with off-ball movements, with Steph rejecting a dribble handoff here for a layup and then rejecting a pin down for another layup. Now, in total, we pulled 31 plays from last night's opening games. If you want these set plays along with the diagrams, just shoot us an email at justin@hoopstudy.com.